It begins with a simple pawn sacrifice, but what follows is chaos. Knights leap into battle, bishops strike with deadly precision, one mistake, and it's over in 10 move. This is the Evans Gambit, a 19th century weapon still humiliating players in 2025. So let's master the Evans Gambit. So, Evans Gambit is played with the white pieces and we start with 1 e4. Black plays e5, we develop the knight, black develops the knight, we develop the bishop, black develops the bishop. And this is the main position in the Evans Gambit. From here the Evans Gambit begins. It's an evergreen position. Black can also play knight to f6 at the place of bishop c5, but in order to play the Evans Gambit, we must face bishop to c5. And after bishop c5, on the move number 4, we are going to play the move b4. Pushing the pawn, sacrificing the pawn. It's a bit odd move if you're looking this move for the first time, but believe me, it's a very deadly move. After b4, your opponent's having two options to capture the pawn with the knight or with the bishop. If he starts with simply knight cross b4, first capturing with the knight, what is the idea of Evans Gambit? Why sacrificing the pawn? We push the pawn to c3, this is our main idea, attacking the piece, the knight goes back or the bishop goes back, and then we simply instantly strike in the center with d4. We basically sacrifice the pawn, so we are not really playing according to the material, but we are playing according to the position. It's a very aggressive opening, so we are just taking initiative and simply striking in the center with d4. Black can take on d4, we can take it back, black can give a check, and I would recommend you guys to simply block the check with the knight, because this bishop is actually going to be useful in the future. Knight to f6 for example, we can simply play the move d5. You can also castle up in this position, which is extremely fine, but d5 is also a very strong move. Knight to a5, and now you can simply castle up, allowing your opponent to capture the bishop and even capturing the free pawn on e4. So you see, we are already 2 pawns down, but as I said, we are not playing according to the material, but according to the position. You can already realize that white is having such harmonious development activity, more space in the center. Even castled up king, a much safer king compared to the black king. His pieces are not yet developed. So we are going to grab this opportunity, attack his knight, kicking the knight back, and now rook b1, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes back, and now here comes a check. Attacking the king has to move. d6, a very strong move in this position, not allowing the opponent to push his own pawn so that he can develop his bishop. Pushing the pawn, for example, if he trades everything on d6, now you can also take the pawn with the queen, which is fine, but I would recommend you to play bishop a3, getting one more piece into the game, and you see the power of the bishop. Black king is doomed up. He's definitely having +3 advantage, but he's completely losing the game. So that's exactly how you can play if your opponent plays knight b4. If your opponent simply goes for playing the move bishop cross b4, which is the main move, capturing with the bishop, you play the move c3. And after c3, if your opponent plays bishop c5, you have a transposition. So the main move is generally to play the move bishop a5 or bishop e7. Bishop e7 is a much more solid approach, whereas bishop a5 is a bit more clumsy. So starting with first bishop a5. After bishop a5, now you are having many ways to continue the position. You can play the move d4 directly, or you can first safeguard your king with castle and then strike with d4. Both the moves have their own ideas. First, starting with castle up, your opponent can simply develop his knight, attacking the pawn. You can strike in the center now with d4. Your opponent can take the pawn on d4, and now we are going to grab this opportunity to push the pawn to e5, simply attacking the knight on f6. So you see, we are not playing according to the material. We are using the opportunity to attack as soon as possible to our opponent's king, or at least to his pieces. We're currently attacking the knight, so the main move in this position is to play the move d5, counter-attacking the bishop. So if you're already a beginner, your opponent probably won't able to find this move. So we can simply capture the knight in the position, takes, rook g8, rook e1 check, bishop e6, bishop g5. And you won't believe it, but this is a bit complicated position. It's still a theory. After bishop g5, black can play queen d5, and basically somehow the engine says it's fine for black, but you can just continue with knight d2, simply developing your pieces. And what is your idea? Your idea is to play knight e4, knight f6, and believe me, that's game over for black. It's very hard to play with the black pieces already. If your opponent goes for capturing a free pawn on c3, already knight e4 is winning for white. After queen takes, knight f6 check, you can capture the rook, capture the queen. You are already a rook up, knight f6 check, making a queen, and black is already doomed. That's how strong it is to play with the white pieces. If your opponent doesn't able to find the move d5, and if you play something else like knight e4, which is a bit more human move, just rook e1 attacking the knight, your opponent can capture the pawn on c3. So now he's attacking the two rooks with his bishop, which looks completely losing for white. But here comes the bishop g5 attacking the queen. You see, we are taking the initiative. We are not playing according to the material, but we are playing according to the position. Knight goes back to e7, which is the only move. Now knight cross g4. And why is this position completely winning for white? Because white is having this gigantic lead in development, having a crazy attack on f7, queen f3, even queen h5, knight f5, because the knight is pinned on e7. And believe me, this position is already completely doomed up for black, and it's completely winning for white. So that's exactly how you can play if your opponent plays the move knight to f6. You can also you can castle up in this position, which is fine. If your opponent you can also play the move d4, or striking in the center instantly, which is also a very good move. Basically, you allow your opponent to capture on d4, and now you can castle up, giving up one more free pawn. And now here comes queen to b3. Queen b3 is generally a good idea and is available in these types of position. We simply attack the f7 pawn. Queen b3 is a move that you must remember in such opening, or the Evans Gambit. Basically, after knight h6, you can simply capture the knight with the bishop, because you have already pushed d4. So after queen b3, for example, queen e7, now you can play knight cross c3, or you can even play bishop a3. But knight c3 with the idea of knight d5, your opponent have to take over here. And bishop a3 are some ideas that are available in such positions. And yeah, this is how you play this position. And it's already very present for white. Your opponent can't really castle up. You can push a pawn in the center. He can't really capture rook e1, traps the queen, and that's game over for black. That's exactly how you can play if your opponent plays bishop a5. Now discussing the main move, a more solid approach, which is bishop e7 and the main move. After bishop e7, we are simply going to play the move d4, once again striking in the center. And now knight a5 is the main move, though the chances are extremely less for your opponent to be able to find this move, because it's a theory. And even if he is able to find it, if he is a strong player, it's still a very low possibility that he's very much prepared. You can already play simply bishop e2. What is the idea? You can allow your opponent to take on d4 now. I would recommend you to capture with the queen, attacking the g7 pawn. If knight f6, simply developing the piece. Simply e5, attacking the knight. Here your opponent can simply drop his knight back, attacking the queen and the pawn. You can play queen h4, attacking the knight. Knight goes queen g3. And basically, you're having this maneuver of queen h4, putting your queen g3, which not only defends the pawn but also attacks the pawn on g7. What is the idea? If your opponent simply castle up, you can simply put your bishop to h6, g6, h4, h5, castle up. And believe me, it's already, human wise, it's a bit terrifying to play with the black pieces, because black pieces are not are already a bit underdeveloped, and it's pretty easy and comfortable, and it's fun to play with the white pieces. That's exactly how you can play if your opponent plays the move knight to f5. Coming to the main move, which I believe is a much more human approach, which is d6, simply pushing up the pawn, trying to develop the light square bishop. You can simply play the move queen b3 as you have played d4. So there is no knight h6 available, because the bishop is covering the square on h6, and now black can't really defend f7. Knight a5 is the only option, attacking the bishop and the queen. And now bishop f7, king f8, queen a4, take, and you will see material wise now the position is even, but I would prefer white in this position. Why? Because his king is his king can't really castle up now, as he has already moved his king. Second, you are having much better control in the center, much more space in the center. And third, you can simply castle up, safeguard your king. That's why I believe white is much more pleasant in this position, and it's much easier to play with the white pieces, because black is not really sure where this king belongs. So that's exactly with this we have discussed. That's exactly you can play bishop cross b4. If your opponent plays last but not the least, bishop b6, not going for capturing the b4 pawn, just simply sliding off the bishop, now you can play the move a4. What is the idea? You can also play b5, but I won't recommend move b5. b5 is an unnecessary move. I would like you to play the move a4 with the idea of a5, trapping up the bishop. Your opponent have to capture now, and after a5, bishop c5, c3, knight c6, and now you are having d4 or castle up. That's your wish. You are just having this free move of putting your pawn to a5, and the position is still the same. So this idea, the pawn on a5, only benefits white, and this is already Like we are already having more space on the queen side and we are already better with the same idea. So that's exactly how you can play even if your opponent does not take on b4. Just play a4 a5 and that's it. You're going to have a same position. So that's exactly how you can play the Evans Gambit. So yeah, so those were some of the most powerful tricks and traps in the Evans Gambit. Use them right and you'll catch your opponents off guard even in higher rated games. So if you found this helpful, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more practical chess ideas that actually work. Got a favorite Evans Gambit moment or trap? Drop it in the comments and I love it to check it out. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.